Greetings, I'm Dugout Man and I'd like to welcome you to my grassroots save with Sandbach United. I did promise you a highlights video, so where is it, you might be asking. Well, actually I'm not going to do a highlights video because since we last played, which was against Winsford, as you can see we won by 2-0 with Bailey Brudo and Dan Smith scoring. Well, actually there's not been many highlights since then. We've played 7 games, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And there's been barely any goals in any of the games. So what I thought I'd do is I'd do a couple of games today against Burscough and God Manchester, which is in the North West Counties Cup. And yeah, we'll play a couple of games, but we'll also do all the highlights, all lowlights, depending on whichever way you want to look at it. From there. So first of all we played Ashton Athletic, and as you can see from the stats, we were absolutely outplayed. They were in absolute control for the whole game. I kept having to adjust the tactics just to try and get ourselves in it, and then in the 94th minute we finally broke the deadlock in what was a really difficult match to watch. So here we came. It was a free kick which was floated in, headed, bounced around, and it was stabbed home by Taylor. It wasn't a great match, to be honest, and the chances that were had, most of them were against us, and we really didn't play well, but we took the win because, you know, it was a perfect present for us. Thank you, Ashton Athletic. But then we went into our next match, which was against Rylands. So Rylands, again, it wasn't a particularly great match. I think we did a little bit better in competing in this match. And it was, I think, Fuller got the goal. But then we conceded a penalty in the 25th minute, which made it 1 apiece. That is how it finished. It was a very even game. And we have had a significant event which happened since leaving our last live com against Winsford and all these matches being played. I will talk about that later, but before that we just want to cover what, and it is something that has caused this run of poor form that we have had, which saw us draw 5 games in a row. So there's no highlights to show on this. We'll just show you how the stats looked. We were outplayed by Longridge, just about. Again, it was a very boring match. Nothing to show, nothing about it to talk about. So there it is, 0-0. And then we went to yet another draw against Earlham. Again, a very even match, so it was probably a justifiable result. Apart from, all the highlights were for Earlham. Only 1 shot on target for ourselves. Things are beginning to look a little bit bleak. We played then against Nelson. And Nelson absolutely controlled us. We're just not in the game whatsoever. Somehow we managed not to concede a goal. Yet another 0-0. Completely and utterly outplayed. Finally, we got to a game where we had some goals. So if you bear with me, I will load up the goals. So we finally got some highlights to show you, and it started off with Kendall breaking and sticking it home with Norman, poor goalkeeper in there. And that was 1-0 to Kendall, but we never looked likely getting the game until we got a penalty in the 43rd minute and Dan Smith scored it. And second half we were a lot better, but the first half we were outplayed by Kendall. And we've got to start asking ourselves a question at this point: what the heck's gone on with the tactics? Because it is just unbelievable how we've gone from being the team sitting just nicely at the top of the table to a team that cannot win for toffee, 5 draws in a row. And I was considering changing the tactics for Avro. This is the main reason you're not watching the Avro game today, was because I was so concerned about what was happening that I needed to look at what was going. But as you can see, again, we played Avro. We've got a win, but it wasn't the best of performances. Again, we were outplayed. You know, they've nearly doubled the shots that we had, and the possession was in their favour. But I'll just show you the goals that we did score. So Bailey Brudo picked up the ball, played it to Haynes, who controlled it. Wicks, who lays it keeps it in just about, pulls it back to Dan Smith, who does what Dan Smith does, and that gave us a 1-0 lead in the 27th minute of the game. Picked up by Smith. In the second half now, 66th minute of the game, Smith charges into the box, keeps going. A beautiful pullback, did deflect off the keeper, and Lucky Lou slotted it away for a great 2-0 win against Avro, who were a team that were really looking at one stage like they could be the team to challenge us for the league this season. I mean, one thing we'd say in all of this bad form is that, you know, we've withstood a lot of pressure and not conceded many goals at all, but at the same time the goals dried up very significantly and left us with a run that has given us a little bit of disconcert. It did leave us second in the league to a team who not only are a point ahead of us, but have also got several games in hand over us. So, you know, we are realistically right behind Longridge at the moment. You know, they could potentially be 7 points clear at the top of this league, and we're going to be chasing them for quite some time. And Congleton are beginning to close in on us. And the tactics have really, all of a sudden, ground to a halt and left me a little bit disconcerted, and we may look at changing it. But there was one significant event that I'm going to show you now which brought all this on, and then maybe you'll understand why we've had a sudden turn in form. And this is predominantly what I attribute to our losing momentum in the league. Lee Knight, who has been faithful with us over last season and this season, he's been absolutely brilliant, but he decided to join Bristol MF, whoever they are. He decided to join them and left us in the lurch quite realistically. Soon as he went, our form has dropped off. We've not been losing games, which is great, but I'm really sad to see him go. He was a pretty prolific goal scorer for us in the first season, but in the second season he's not scored many goals, but certainly he was a part of the build-up play in so much more. And you know, as soon as he's gone, we've seen our form drop. So it was quite obvious where we need to start looking to make a change in our fortunes in our form. So it was on the 5th of October that we lost Lee Knight. On the 29th of October, we then lost another faithful servant from last season. That did really well. He'd not been getting as many games as he would have liked, but he's just decided to move on as well. So we're now lacking a little bit of cover in the left wing area. So it was getting important for us to start rebuilding the squad again, because we've lost a lot of players. So last season's team has realistically now been decimated, and it's beginning to tell in the quality of our team and the way that they're playing. So a huge welcome to Hayden Price, who some of you might have seen him appear in a couple of the highlights that we showed. He certainly had one key movement where he got an assist. He's played 6 games for us now, and he's not particularly set the world alight. 6.6 is not very good, but we're still trying to work out our way around this form. You know, he's picked up that 6.6 in a time where our team's not been playing very well. So I don't actually know how we're going to employ him at the moment. He probably will be something like a deep lying playmaker. He does have the attributes for that. His tackling's not particularly great, which is why I probably prefer the deep line playmaker to anything else, but his positioning's not great either. But the one thing that is pretty good with him is his determination and work rate, and hopefully we can see him improve. He's only 19 years old. He's not going to be necessarily starting every game, but he is there to try and get us back motoring through the midfield. The midfield is part of the problem, really. I think until that is beefed up. And Sonny Haynes. So we've got Hayden Price and Sonny Haynes, who has also joined us. He's a striker. Now, he's a striker who I didn't really want to buy any strikers. I thought Dan Smith and some of the other guys that we already have would do the job for the rest of this season, but He came on the radar, and I couldn't ignore the fact he's got 13 pace, his finishing's 10, his touches 11, heading not so great, so he's probably not very good as a target man, but certainly as an advanced forward. The only issue he's got there is obviously Dan Smith likes playing as the advanced forward as well. We will maybe try him in the advanced forward and Dan Smith dropping back a bit, but I'm reluctant to change Dan Smith when he's scoring so many goals for me. As I've pressed record, ready to play a game, it becomes apparent that our game has been postponed, which is pretty disappointing. I suppose it happens to you guys sometimes too. But we'll see how that leaves us as I move on to the next fixture. We may even get another local derby against Winsford. Let's just see what happens over the next couple of days. So these are the results of the games that did take place. Obviously ours was missing. Hanley and Earlham catches the eye straight away. Looked a cracking match. But the important one for us is City of Liverpool 2, Longridge 2. City of Liverpool are a team that I fear in this league. Congleton drew with Winsford. And Longridge, of course, the top of the league. So where does that leave us in the league table? It leaves us now with one game played more than Longridge, just 2 points behind them. So the maximum they could be ahead of us is 5 points, which I believe would be catchable. We've still got to concern ourselves with the fact that we've dropped so many points lately that we can't afford to keep dropping points, and we've just got to hope that Longridge are not actually as dominant a force as they have appeared to be over recent weeks. So as we come to match day, we are now no longer in possession of our reserve keeper Tommy Dyche. He is signed for Concept. So the exodus seems to be continuing as we're beginning to enter possibly even a crisis stage in the season where so many of our key and backup players have left that we are not looking the same team as we were at the very start of the season. But having said that, he was a good servant to us, and we wish him well, Tommy Dyche. So this is the team we're going to go for against Manchester Rovers, and it's, to be honest, I don't know, I'm a little bit concerned about our strength in depth. I've decided to give Matthews a go. He's not a very good player at all in the context of where we're looking at. If we look at his key attributes for the position that he is playing, he's got 4 for passing, 3 for tackling. It's not really very good. Crossing's not very good either. He could end up being the man of the match with me having said all this, but he's 28 years old, he's not really going to improve, he's half a star current ability and he's at his full potential. But this is showing the issue that we've got with signing players at the moment. We will continue to look for players to replace certain areas. I've decided to go with Can in goal because I haven't really got any other choice. Bogdan Projek, again, he's a very young player who's got a reasonable potential, I think, or he used to anyway, but he's not even a silver star at the moment. Then we've got Matthews on the right, Chisholm, Taylor and Muggleton across the defence with Matthews. Campana right wing, Mellon, I've changed to a centre midfield support because I've run out of players who can play a deep line playmaker role. With Price alongside him, Hayden Price, Bailey Prudo on the left wing. I'm giving Bastard a go as a deep line forward. He's not great in the position, but that's because as promised I wanted to give Haynes an opportunity to play as the advanced forward. So we've got Dan Smith. I was about to say we've got him on the bench, but we haven't. So we better give him a go. So we'll take Papa off the bench and put Dan Smith on there. We've still got James Berry, who could potentially come in and make a difference. But this would be a good test for our formation and that, to see whether we need to adjust anything, because they're a much weaker side. So we should be winning a game like this. Okay, so off we go against Manchester. It's felt like a very long time in getting ourselves into this, and we seem to have very fast highlights, so I'll slow them down a bit for you. But yes, so Manchester Rovers, I'm hoping that we have got what it takes to win this. There's no happy medium, I don't think, with these highlights. As Can hoofs the ball forward. It is picked up by their right winger. And it looks at the moment like we're going to be up against it again. They've scored, it has been disallowed, so we're not going to panic about that. But early doors, we've got to be worried about the highlights going in their favour. Although our statistics suggest that we are the better side, because it was offside, theirs hasn't even counted as a shot. So it's been a long time between me posting a video and doing this one. We all know the crisis that the country's under with this coronavirus, and for most people it's meant they're getting a lot more time to play on their Football Manager games as they isolate and stuff, as Haynes breaks through and slots it just wide of the post. But for me, I drive buses for a living, and because of the sheer numbers of people going off with self-isolation and stuff, it's actually created more of a hassle for me, and I've ended up working many more hours than I normally would. As Bastard nearly scores there, Bennett with the save. But it's something that we all have to deal with at times, and you know, we're all having to deal with things in a different way. It's a very strange time for us as a country and even as a world, because it's going throughout the world and causing all sorts of trouble. And hopefully we can enjoy a good win here against God Manchester Rovers and move on to the next game after that and see how we can improve our position in the league. But what I'm saying is that it's been great to be able to come back to this save, put it on for you guys, and I hope you really enjoy it. So we'll encourage the guys to keep going and tell them that they can each make the difference, because if they played well, we actually could make the difference. So we move into the second half. I've not made any changes. The only thing I might do is slide us up to positive, just to try and push the issue a little bit more. We have been dominating the game, and we want to see a goal. We're an hour in, there's not been many highlights at all. I don't know if you've noticed that with Football Manager, but the highlights seem to be dropping off big time in key, and we may end up going to extended highlights. We're 70 minutes in, time to make a sub because nothing is happening. So we've put on, we're taking off Jamie, Mellon, Bastard and Haynes. We've brought on Chandler Bing, Dan Smith and James Berry, and brought James Berry to a deep line playmaker, and Chandler Bing as the target man, as Prudo just manages to keep that in, swings it in. Chandler Bing was in the vicinity, didn't get a header on it. Christian wins it back, but this could be a counter-attack from God Manchester Rovers. It's been intercepted by Matthews, who has played it all the way back to the keeper, Can hoist the ball forward. Smith with the header down. Mellon, I thought I'd taken him off, I'm beginning to worry now. James Berry has won the ball. He appears to be on the right wing. I've clearly made some sort of cock up there. But Dan Smith picks up the ball, slots it home. There seemed to be no action from the keeper and defender. I don't know what they were playing at. But we're not going to complain because it's give ourselves a goal. So I'm not sure what I've done with substitution. I'm going to have a look at it in a minute. But Berry puts in the cross. The defender just doesn't bother going for it. And left-footed Dan Smith slots it home. And it's good to have quality like that to come off the bench and change a game. So let's look. Yeah, so what we did was we accidentally took off, I don't know why I'm blaming you guys, it was obviously me. I've accidentally taken off our right winger. I'm sure nobody else has ever done this before, when I was supposed to take off our centre mid. But we've got a goal out of it, so we'll keep it as it is. There's 9 minutes to go. As hopefully forward will come again. Berry again on the right wing, where I geniusly put him. And he's hit the ball over. That was a good effort though. You know, it takes a genius like me to find out that James Berry can play on the right wing better than most right wingers. As Berry and Matthews and Mellon combine together. Berry charging forward. The winger we never knew was a winger. Mellon sprays it out with his left foot straight to Lacey, their defender. That was a poor pass from Mellon. Dan Smith picks up the ball and charges at the defence. This is something he is really good at, and he keeps going and slots it straight into the hands of Bennett. But the run before that was magical, so we can't be too disappointed with the way things are going. Muggleton with a free kick. Hoisted in, and it's fallen to... Was it Prudo? Yeah, Bailey Prudo has volleyed the ball home. The name kept switching on the player, so I wasn't sure which one had actually volleyed it. But there he is. It's a simple volley, he just made sure he made contact with it, but we'll certainly take the goal. 2-0, and a comfortable win in the end. I was anticipating that we would win it, but it's good to have that result because, you know, in the last 6 games, I've had 6 games where I expected us to win, and we've not turned up for 5 of those games. So to get the win today with you guys joining us, thank you very much for your support with that. So what I'm going to do, you won't know any of this, but I'm going to go away from the game, got some things to do, and then I'll come back and play the next game. Again, live com, slot the 2 videos together, and magically we'll be there. But it's nice to progress in a cup because we've not done very well in the cup so far this season. And hopefully by the next game we'll have a little bit more transfer news and a much stronger squad for the match day. But I'll see you the other side of this gap. So greetings and welcome back. It's been about 10 seconds for you guys. But for me it's been more than 24 hours, but I'll finally get myself back to play the game away against Squires Gate, and we may or may not have made changes in our team. It's been that long since we played. I've got a feeling that Berry and Chandler Bing coming in are the changes. Oh, and Baker at right back. But this is the side that I've decided to go with. Baker here, he has played quite a few games for us. He's not very good. He's like half a star rating, but whilst we do have a lot of players who are low starred in our team at the moment and in our squad, I do want to assure you that there are 5 or 6 signings which are hopefully going to come through over the next few days. So when we come to our next match against Winsford, hopefully we'll have a much stronger squad, and finally we will start to see ourselves press on towards that number 1 spot that we're chasing at the moment. But let's get into the game. Squires Gate without further ado. So we've got 2 teams playing a 4-4-2, and you know, we come into this game having had a nice cup win. Let's hope that we can continue with a sequence of wins now to put them constant draws behind us and push ourselves towards that top spot in the league. Early doors, Squires Gate are having a lot more shots than us. Nobody's had anything that warrants a highlight yet, so we'll hope that something changes in the very near future. In fact, here is our first highlight on the half-hour mark. Wicks wins the ball, heads it to Haynes, pulls it back to Berry, who finds Price in a lot of space, finds Prudo on the wing. This is a good build-up and a good cross. Dan Smith heads it just wide of the post. That was a very encouraging little move. What we'll do is we'll give a quick shout to demand a bit more, because we want to see more of that in this game. We want to see ourselves take control, and with a striker like Dan Smith, and hopefully Haynes can start adding some goals too. So we get to half time. We've had more shots than them. We've also conceded more fouls than them, and we move to the team talk, and I'm actually going to suggest that we're not good enough. So I'm far from pleased. Sam Muggleton looks stressed, but he can be as stressed as he likes. Do we want to make a change at this point? So I think I'll leave it for now and just give him 10 minutes, see what the team talk has done, and it could be changing very quickly if we could see early doors. Muggleton with a great tackle, not bad for somebody who's stressed, and he's found Dan Smith clean through. I think he's onside, but that was a good save by the keeper. That would have been a great start to the second half. So Price with a long ball. It's now coming back at us. Jackson running through, and Can with a fantastic save. That looked every bit like it was going to be a goal. From the corner, Whisker. Jackson makes the block. We almost want Whisker to just miss so that we can say that he missed the post by a whisker. Can with the long ball. Although I'll probably ruin that joke now for you if it does actually happen. Smith loses out, but Haynes picks up the loose ball. Haynes, loads of time, finds Dan Smith. It's been disallowed. He's offside. Oh, so frustrating. Look at that. Just if he'd have played it just a little bit sooner, he would have been onside. Just held on to it for too long. So we're entering to the 60th minute. They've made a change. We're going to make a change. Dan Smith's having a poor game, but so is James Berry. So we'll bring Mellon on, and I think we'll bring Lucky Lou on as well. Have a complete change in the midfield. Now Lucky Lou's possibly going to be leaving us soon. He's getting a lot of attention from other teams, so we'll be hoping to hang on to him, but we'll see what happens. He's been in this position many times, and every time so far he's picked Sandbach. But then Lee Knight was the same. He kept turning down team after team, and then all of a sudden one day he just went. He was gone, just like that. And ever since then our form has been continuously this. So we're going attacking. Hopefully we'll score from this free kick and I get to change that straight away. It's headed out. Prudo picks it up. He's on the wrong side, so he does play it back to Chisholm. Not renowned as a crosser of the ball, but he has lumped it forward. Smith can't win it back. Kay has to highlight gone or not. Baker finds Mellon. Mellon with the long ball, but it's not found its mark. Newby has just arrived on the scene, I'm sure. Prudo. Muggleton. Chandler Bing. Muggleton. Haynes goes forward. Smith picks it up. Prudo's making a run down the wing, but Smith keeps going. Mellon with the long ball. Haynes is through, and Haynes has slotted it home. But once again, it's been disallowed. We've scored twice in this game, and both times it's been ruled as offside. Oh, it is harsh. It is so harsh. Time is beginning to tick away. Can with the goal kick. Smith, good control. Wicks with a superb ball to Prudo. Can Prudo get the cross in? No. Newby makes the challenge. Chandler Bing. Muggleton. A long ball forward. Chandler Bing wins a header. But still they look like they could come forward. And Haynes nips in and steals the ball from the last defender. The keeper makes a save and then he misses the open goal. It was a very tight angle. Surely there's not time for another one. Certainly won't be if Muggleton doesn't hurry up and take this throw in. Get the ball forward, come on. Smith picks up the ball. And he's offside. How would you get offside like that, Dan Smith? And I think that will be that. It's another disappointing 0-0, especially when we had 2 goals disallowed. And they were both very tight offsides as well. So we can't be too disappointed with the guys. I mean, how many times can you score? I told her they were unlucky and they didn't like that. But so what we'll do, we'll quickly move on to the last game of the episode. That is Winsford. And hopefully we'll have a few new players to introduce you to when we get to that game. But I'll speak to you soon. I'd like to introduce you to Stephen Brogan. He's the first of our signings. He's a backup left back. We have upset Muggleton a bit by signing him, but he's one of a few players that we're hoping to bring into the side just to add a little strength, particularly actually for the right back. That's where we are really aiming to improve. But the first one to sign is Stephen Brogham, and we welcome him to Sandbach United. We get the opportunity to introduce you to another signing, Lewis Earle. He's a right back, also can play in the centre, so he's going to be quite useful. 19 years old. His attributes are okay. They're nothing to write home about apart from his determination, but certainly is an improvement on what we've currently got in the right back position. He can play central defender as well, but at the moment, specifically with his heading and that, we're not going to be asking him to do that. But welcome to Sandbach United, Lewis Earle. And while we talk about defenders coming in, we would like to introduce another one. He's a veteran, Danny Ellis. He's got superb leadership, so potentially a captain for the team. Good determination, teamwork. His work rate's a little lower than I would like, but certainly is a strong defender with great heading and tackling, and he could be a real leader at the back to help Chandler Bing and the team with the defensive duties. But yeah, so Danny Ellis, welcome to the club. So this is Matthew Liptrap. Now he is a real interesting signing for us. He's again a central midfielder. He probably looks a reasonably decent Mazzala. But deep line playmaker too. If you look at his attributes, they're actually really good. In fact, the only one that really lets him down, I suppose, is anticipation and maybe composure. But certainly most of the others. So he's certainly a guy who could potentially fulfil that role of the deep line playmaker. But certainly as a central midfielder in general, he looks like he massively improves our team. And with him being 19 years old, he's got a real potential to do something at the club. So I'm quite excited to introduce you to Matthew Liptrap. So welcome back, and it was good to be able to introduce some new signings, 3 of which will be starting today. That is Earle at right back, who's going to be playing alongside Chisholm and Ellis at the back, and with Muggleton at left back. We have Brogan on the bench, should Muggleton not be cutting the mustard today. Wicks, Mellon, Price and Prudo, and Chandler Bing has moved up. We're going to try Chandler Bing as a target man to see if that can release Smith a little bit more, because at the moment the one thing that we're lacking since we lost Lee Knight is definitely goals. We're keeping clean sheets for the most part, and we just need to start sticking a few goals in the back of the net. So failing that, I'm going to try James Berry dropping back into the attacking midfield role and see if we can bring something that way. But yeah, so at the moment the team will remain like this. And do you know what? We've forgotten one person, haven't we? How could we forget when we've just signed him? So Lucky Lou, you're going to be unlucky. And we're going to give him a go. He doesn't like the ball winning midfielder, central midfielder. So if we have him as central midfield attack, and this guy as support, I think that would do us. So Liptrap has moved in, Mellon has moved back out again. But you can see Mellon getting in at half time if one or the other of these is not performing. But let's see how we go in our game. Another local derby against Winsford. This is the home version of the tie. Let's hope that we can do to them what we were able to do at Winsford Station Road Stadium. So again, it's 2-4-4-2 teams coming against each other. And as we kick off, let's just hope that we have a few more goals than we did in the last match. So early doors, it's Winsford looking a little bit dangerous on the attack. And so far the defence is standing up to what they're throwing at us. There's not really been any signs of them breaching it yet. Price with a ball towards Smith. And it's coming back again between Ellis and Chisholm. They do managed to get control of the ball. Chandler Bing holds it up well on the centre line. Price, so it's been sold short, and all of a sudden Riddle is through. But with shooting like that, he can go through as often as he likes. So the next highlight starts with a goal kick. Muggleton wins the header, but it's coming back at us with Cornell, Hopper, Calverley, Hayden. Is he going to get... yes, he is. He's going to get mugged off by Dan Smith. He's all on his own. He's got nobody to help him. It's a great sliding tackle to stop him, but Prudo has hit the post. That was a fantastic effort from Prudo. Thought he was going to score. You can always tell when we're at home because of the light that just gets in the way, right in the way of the pitch. But I think this defence so far has looked pretty solid. They're dwindling at the back there. That's something I don't like to see too often, but he has found Dan Smith, who's got the big lad in Chandler Bing running in front of him. Prudo, can he swing the ball in? Bing is waiting at the far post. I'm not totally sure what happened there, but it wasn't the most enthusiastic of results, I would say. So once again, we seem to be lacking the goals. We're going to do two things. Before even this highlight comes, we're going to put them on attacking and demand more. We should be much better than Winsford, and at the moment we just need that goal just to give us a little bit of confidence. Chandler Bing brings the ball to Wicks, who gives it to Earl, who plays it down the wing to nobody. Not the most impressive passing there. Chrisham with a long ball to Dan Smith, can't quite get it under control, and back it comes again. It's a little bit of to and throwing with the ball. Smith finally clean through. Great save by Jones. We have a corner. And from this corner, Muggleton will swing it out. Chandler Bing can't win the header, but Wicks will pick up the loose ball and will run down the line and get fouled. But we don't get to see the free kick. So I'm not totally sure what the highlight was all about then, really. So 35 minutes into the game, believe it or not, it's still 0-0. We have been playing pretty well, but we've got to start winning soon. As the league is just going to drift away from us. We're currently, if things stay the same, going to be in third place in the league. So we'll try and just encourage them, but there's a lot more to come from them. And then we'll go to the second half. So Chrisham, Prudo, Chandler Bing, and he's sent Dan Smith away. There is no defenders going to get to him in time, but Jones makes the save. Stevenson will clear it away. So without doing anything, we've moved back into second place apparently. But at the far post, Prudo has headed it home. It's been disallowed. That is the third goal in a row that has been disallowed. And again, it is so close. It is so frustrating. What do you do when you're playing so well and just can't seem to score? Can makes a save. Earl with a free kick, which he's launched forward and is ran straight into Dan Smith, and somehow he has sent it over. We are looking at a change here. I don't really know what to do. Hayden Price has been playing better than Liptrap, but he's got a yellow card. Mellon needs to come on. I'm going to say that Hayden Price is the one that comes off. We're going to put James Carter in for the new boy Dan Ellis, just simply because Ellis is it's his first appearance and he's looking pretty tired. He wasn't any more tired than the others, I suppose, but certainly it's his first game in. So Mellon picks up the ball, nice and fresh, beautiful ball to Wicks, but Lane just intercepts it. Chisholm with a long ball forward. Now Brown is able to bring it forward, and he's put in a superb ball to Russell, and a great tackle from Muggleton there, just to keep us in the game. You do get a feeling that this could have something of that, conceding a late goal and losing the game. I've dropped it back to cautious just to give them something different to think about. Maybe try and draw Winsford out and try and get Smith clean through, just like that, and 1-0. So I don't know if that's the genius of moving it back to cautious, or whether it was coming all along. But Prudhoe with the ball, played the long ball, calm as you like, over the top. Smith picks it up and slots it home from the best part of 20 yards. That was a great goal. So at least we have the lead now. That is important. We've got to guard ourselves against complacency. Still 10 minutes to play. And we may look at making a substitution depending on what happens in this highlight. Jones, should I say. As you can tell by my constant fumbling with the names, I'm not on the big screen today, so I'm struggling to read the names. Brown is clean through, and this is going to be 1-1. It has been disallowed. Finally, we get the rub of the green when it comes to disallowed goals. And so James Berry on for Chandler Bing. So as we come into this highlight, again we're under pressure, but I've just brought Berry on and dropped him back into the shadow striker role. I'm hoping that it won't be to try and get us a winner. Can makes a save. I'm always really worried when they get free kicks like that. It seems to be one of the times when we're at our poorest is corners and free kicks into the box. But Mellon has picked the ball up and sent Prudhoe down the wing, and he's got to actually take a shot. Jones is able to save quite comfortably, gets the ball out quickly, but Muggleton again is there, and he's had a really good game. Muggleton, I'm really pleased with how he's done. James Berry is now on, it's official. And Wicks is able to put the ball forward to Smith, who's now the lone striker. And he's brought down, but they're not giving a foul. Mellon, Prudhoe to Mellon to Liptrop. First time I've seen Liptrop involved today. That was not the best of passes. And all of a sudden Winsford are able to bring the ball forward. Chisholm again with a header. He has been solid as a rock in that defence today. And now Berry picks up the ball and sends Smith through. That was superb interplay between the striker and the shadow striker. And we have a corner. Mellon will take the corner. And an in-swinger which none of the players attacked. Chisholm plays it back to Mellon. Mellon to Chisholm again. To Liptrot. Good holding up the ball, and I mean it's all wasting time. We've got a couple of minutes to survive. I think we've seen all the highlights we're going to, and it's a 1-0 win. We were better than that 1-0 win suggested in that match. 18 shots to their 9, but 12 on target to their 4. And yeah, it was a good performance, just once again lacking that finishing product. Dan Smith finally did get a goal, but realistically, even Dan Smith, the great Dan Smith, we're not scoring enough goals at the moment. And I would have to say that, you know, we've got 44 points, Longbridge have got 46 points, and we're still going to struggle to catch them unless we start scoring. So there we are. We now have drawn level in games with Sandbach and have a game in hand over the two teams nearest to us. With 22 games played, we're 2 points behind Longridge, and I think that we have a chance. but our form is still a little bit sketchy at the moment. Just 2 wins in our last 5, which admittedly is the same as Longridge above us. I would say Northwich, 1874 Northwich are probably the team in the best form out of us. But everybody's taking points from everybody. It's a real interesting time. And so what we'll probably do is we'll look to progress the season a little bit more. I have 2 or 3 signings up my sleeve, which may or may not happen. So we'll definitely look to see them. But certainly I'll look to try and get through December into January. Perhaps come back around about the Congleton, New Mills, Padiham sort of time, and see how things are going now. We've got some really important games in, and including the Northwest Counters against Burscough, who we play 4 times in 3 matches, 2 of them away, and an away game against City of Liverpool. We've got some really tough matches coming up. Hopefully we'll still be in the running for the league when we come back. Like I say, we'll play 2 or 3 games around the Congleton, Padiham sort of time. And then we're in for the run-in for the end of the season, which is looking really interesting. And one of the key matches towards the end that could make or break the season is that we play Longridge. And even Avro in the last game of the season could be an incredible run-in, could be an exciting run-in. But hopefully it will go in our favour. So hopefully I'll have some new signings for you to look at. And as we continue to go through this difficult time in our country of coronavirus, I just implore that you all stay safe and stay well and keep enjoying your Football Manager and your YouTube series that you're watching and listening to. But as I go and continue our games, look out for the highlights packages, because if there's enough highlights, we'll certainly show you what's been going on before we come back next time. And like I say, hopefully we'll have new signings and have a great run in to the end of the season. But thanks for watching. And what I would like to say is, if you like what you're watching, just like and subscribe. Send me some lovely comments like I've already received, and it'd be great to hear from you. But until next time, I'm Dugout Man, and I'll see you again soon.